I preferred to try to forget the sights I saw in hospital, particularly in the children's wards. Infants a month old, weighing only 1.5 pounds, fitting onto the palm of my hand, not premature, and that was the least of it. Father O'Leary told me that this is one of the few dioceses where Roman Catholics can get dispensations from the bishop to marry Muslims. From the Islamic angle, if a Muslim girl marries a Christian, he must become Muslim. But if a Muslim man marries a Christian girl, she can keep her own faith. Christians and Jews are the only non-Muslims the sons of the Prophet may marry. Another fabulous dust storm is performing now, and all electricity has gone off again, so I'm writing by oil lamp in a bath of sweat. Pindi, the 2nd of June. I was up at 5:30 a.m. to see the sky overcast and feel the temperature down to a cool, delicious 85 degrees. I then rang the airport to ask about flights to Gilgit, but the weather is so cloudy in the Himalayas that none is going till Tuesday afternoon at the earliest. A disappointing development, yet in the relief of today's coolness, nothing else seems to matter very much. Now it's 1 p.m. and the temperature is only 89 degrees. I'm still dripping sweat, but without that awful feeling of complete physical and mental exhaustion. At breakfast, we had an interesting discussion on the various Christian workers in Pakistan. I was understandably gratified to notice that everyone to whom I have spoken is very appreciative of the fact that no attempt at conversion is ever made by the Catholic teachers or medical workers. In the past 35 years, during which they have educated thousands of Muslim girls, the presentation nuns haven't had one convert. I've spoken by now to over 20 of their past pupils, and the nuns are universally loved and admired. On the other hand, all the Protestant missions, educational and medical, stink in Muslim nostrils, because their teaching and medical treatment is always accompanied by what the Muslims call insulting propaganda. In their schools, the children have to study the Bible and Christian doctrine, and with their medicines, they also dispense leaflets and pamphlets on the good path to God. I know that this is true because I visited a Protestant mission hospital the other day, and the matron showed me the literature they distribute, awful sickly stuff that would put a pope off Christianity for life. My host summed it up pretty well this morning when he said, "The Protestants seem to come here because they hate Islam, and the Catholics because they love God." No doubt it's a matter of opinion which attitude is correct, but personally I'm entirely with the Catholics, who have the good sense and good manners to admit in practice, if not in theory, that Islam is a different, but not necessarily inferior or wrong, path to God. And of course, the result is that in Pakistan, a genuine good feeling exists between educated Muslims and Catholics, though here, as elsewhere, the semi-illiterate mullahs hate any form of Christianity. I suppose you've been reading and hearing about the cyclone disaster in East Pakistan. Many people I've met take the attitude that it's Allah's way of cutting down the population, and there's no sense of a national calamity in the air, though the President has declared it to be such. What happens in East Pakistan is no more or less important to the average West Pakistani than what happens in Madras or Hyderabad. By now, I've met very many Pakistanis who regard India as their home, and who complain of not being able to go back to see their relatives there, or of not being accepted by the real natives of this area, or of having lost all their property at the time of partition, as well as most of their friends, who were either Hindu or Sikh. I asked several such people why they chose Pakistan when India is so much nearer and dearer to them, and they said, for the sake of the children. Apparently, although in ordinary Indian social life, the various religions, at least among the cultured classes, meet and mingle without bigotry, officially the Muslim youth in the new India are discriminated against, or so they say here. I'll investigate that situation as best as I can when I get to India. What a tragic muddle it all is. I spent the afternoon taking advantage of the coolness and the consequent return of my brain to what I consider normal to work on an article, and after dinner went out to observe the scene in the streets. This is the